What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball. And more importantly, welcome back to Ideal Offseason. This is the series where I put the GM cap on for a little bit and help a team navigate through their offseason. In this video, we've got the Milwaukee Bucks, and what we're going to do is we're going to give some in-depth player breakdowns, talk about depth chart, draft picks, salary cap situations, do some mock trades, do a mock draft, look at free agency, use realistic numbers, everything that we need to realistically walk a team through their offseason. And we really do try to keep this series as realistic as possible. We're going to take a look at every single team's needs and determine what is actually going to help benefit this franchise in both the short and long term. If you're the Washington Wizards and you're not a very good team right now, how do we make them just a little bit better as they continue their rebuild? If you're the Lakers, you got LeBron and Luka, well, we're obviously trying to win a championship. And with this video on the Milwaukee Bucks, it's going to be possibly the biggest challenge of this whole offseason. So hopefully you guys like it. And if you do, hey, make sure you go like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment on my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. Go watch the rest of the Ideal Offseason videos. We've got a couple other ones out already at the time that you guys are seeing this one, and it's by far and away the most popular series on my channel. I think I'm really the only one doing anything like this on YouTube, and I think it's a lot of fun. Also, go watch my Do They Fit in the NBA series, probably my second favorite series on the channel. They get demonetized every single time, but you know what? I love making them. They're educational. You guys really seem to like them because the views are great on them. So, hey, keep giving them watches and I'll keep them coming. But anyway, let's talk about the Bucks. Alrighty, so this brings us back to the Ideal Offseason spreadsheet. For those of you new to the channel, this is a spreadsheet that I make to kind of help articulate and visualize the story of Ideal Offseason. I make a bunch of different spreadsheets on this channel, and actually you can get access to it if you want. If you go on the link in the description of this video right here, you'll see a link to join my Discord. If you go there and go to the announcements channel, there's a free link to just go download this spreadsheet. You have places that you can actually post what you build on here. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys on there because it's a great community on there right now. But anyway, the Bucks. Let's do a quick recap of this season. Giannis and Dame absolutely dominated this season. They really struggled at a couple different points, though, this year, the team in general, not Giannis and Dame, to find any sort of congruency or things that were actually working for this team. Chris Middleton was out for a lot of it, right? And they just kind of struggled to get going. Giannis was out at different points, Dame was out at different points, and then Dame gets the blood clots right before the playoffs, and we go, oh no, it's happening again. Every single year of the Lillard-Giannis experiment has just ended right at the playoffs, where one of them or both of them goes down, and so Dame is down, we're like, oh no, but then he's coming back, we're like, oh boy, he's coming back, but it wasn't until game 2, he wasn't really in game shape, even though they played him like 40 plus minutes, and then obviously Dame tears his Achilles, and the Bucks get eliminated by the Pacers. I didn't think that the Bucks were going to win that series anyway. I just didn't think the team was good enough. They had made the Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma swap, which I understood why they did it. They went for more of an upside swing, and that unfortunately completely fell on its face. So that kind of sucks, but now with Dame out, he's probably going to be out for most of next year. He's saying he's going to attack the rehab really, really hard. It's just, I feel like best case scenario, he comes back like right before the playoffs, right? And so the questions are being asked right now, what happens with Giannis now? Like, what happens with Dame? Is Giannis going to ask out, right? And so what we're going to talk about the team and everything, and then I'll start getting into the actual strategy of what I want to do in this video and how I want to attack Ideal Offseason. But before we do that, let's break down the current roster. Who do we currently have under contract, our salary cap implications, and our draft assets? Let's know what we're working with going into this video. So zooming in on the roster first, we've got 5 open roster spots. We've got some free agents that have just hit the market that we'll want to talk about. You'll see some numbers on here. These are EPM numbers. Basically, EPM, in a very, very brief way of describing it, is like attributing an overall to somebody on both offense and defense and their general overall. Like with every statistic, it's not perfect. It's one of the better statistics we have in basketball, though, so just take that as you will. So the first one, Damian Lillard had an awesome season coming off of the Achilles injury now. We just don't know. Very, very expensive player. Got 2 years left on the deal, but we're trying to win championships, right? And he's just not available now, and that's That sucks. Giannis, obviously, he's Giannis, one of the best players in basketball. I don't need to go into too in-depth of stuff with these guys. You guys understand it. You can look at the numbers yourself. Giannis is the 99.5th percentile in the NBA. Dame is the 95th percentile. You have two of the best players in the NBA right here. They're incredible, and it's just a shame that Lillard's out. Next most expensive guy, we got Kyle Kuzma here after the Middleton for him swap, right? We were like, okay, the Bucks, we're taking a little bit of a swing up right here, which I understand. I really do. I think the Wizards really benefited from having Chris Middleton on the team. It kind of helps stabilize the young guys a little bit. The same thing that we keep learning and the thing that we keep preaching, especially on Ideal Offseason, is that when you have these young teams, you need to add the vets to them. It's what the Pistons did. We've been saying it for how many years on this channel. Just it's the method, right? So shout out the Wizards for doing that. And they got rid of Kuzma, who they absolutely hated. And now it didn't go well on the Bucks necessarily either. It felt like a lot of the same mistakes were happening. He had a pretty rough playoff series overall. And Kyle Kuzma is just kind of seen as a negative asset at this point, unfortunately. So I mean, the numbers speak for themselves here. It was a rough year. Then we got Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis is still a great basketball player. Still a really, really elite backup center. He has a player option right now, and he's making $13 million. That's pretty low considering his current market right now. I would have to imagine, and it's probably worth pointing out that Bobby Portis missed a good chunk of the season because of his whole medical incident of being suspended, which when you actually look at the situation, it's really unfortunate that happened to Bobby Portis. Like, yes, you have to suspend him for that, but it's so silly and it sucks. But Bobby Portis, I have to imagine, is going to be declining this player option because he just is worth more money. Why not just go get the long-term money? He's 29 years old. He didn't have his best season ever this last year, but the Bucks team is just kind of all over the place, and Doc Rivers isn't exactly the most strategic coach of all time, and so I have to imagine Bobby Portis is going to decline with the intent of coming back, but for the time being, I'm just going to take Bobby Portis off of the list and say that he's probably someone we're going to have to come back to at some point. Next, we have Pat Connaughton, a guy with a player option that's most likely going to accept because he is making way more money than he probably should. Defensively, he's been rough, and he's a three-point shooter that can't shoot threes anymore, so that's really unfortunate. We got another year on his contract. This is going to have to be one where we have to see what we can do with it because I don't know. I just don't know. Kevin Porter Jr. brought over from the Clippers in the Beauchamp deal. Kevin Porter Jr., Bucks fans kind of got the full experience of him. I've just got him here as a backup 2 as of right now. I don't know. Don't worry about the depth chart too much at this very moment. Kevin Porter Jr. is extremely talented. Maybe not the brightest individual, and maybe loses his cool from time to time, right? That's kind of been the story throughout his whole career, dating back to college. I knew his college coaches very well. Heard a lot of stories, and so Kevin Porter, you saw that he is able to get a bucket pretty much whenever, right? But you also saw the downsides to him where, his game can completely fall apart and he can really hurt a team in some ways. I don't think we saw enough good out of Kevin Porter to say that he's going to get a better contract than this last year, but he's going to get a chance to play regardless on this Bucks team next year. So I think he's going to accept his player option, stick around, and that's probably a good thing for us because he's cheap and he's a very high upside player. He's extremely talented. Handle the ball pretty well, can shoot when he needs to, right? It's kind of an off and on thing for him. AJ Green, he technically doesn't have a guaranteed contract right here. Elite shooter, one of the best shooters in basketball, and actually a pretty solid defender at this point in his career as well. Tough-minded guy, so we like AJ Green. We're definitely going to be guaranteeing his contract and just keeping him around. I don't know why my conditional formatting doesn't work there. There we go. Andre Jackson Jr., a guy that I personally can't understand why Doc Rivers doesn't like him. I understand that he's all defense. He doesn't really do a ton offensively, but he was shooting the ball pretty well at points earlier this season, and that's really all you need out of him because he was such a good defensive player. He was athletic. He kept the offense going at times. I like him a ton. There's no reason to get rid of him at all. So I mean, we're gonna be retaining him. He's cheap and a solid young player. So there we go. Chris Livingston. Doesn't really do a ton for you on an NBA court. I'm going to keep it honest with you. We're going to keep it short. No reason to bring back Chris Livingston. We can go find better guys for a minimum contract elsewhere, so I'd rather just free up the roster spot right here. And then we got Tyler Smith, second round pick from this last year. I actually like Tyler Smith a lot as a long-term prospect. I think he's really talented. I think he's shown he can do a little bit of everything. So definitely a guy I want to keep around, and who knows, maybe in this second season we start to see a little bit more development out of him. So that's the current roster right now. You'll see now we have 7 open roster spots, and we'll address that at a certain point. But in terms of salary cap space right now that I've kind of made those couple adjustments that I have, right, you'll see the numbers that we have for the cap, the luxury tax, first apron, and second apron. If you guys want really in-depth breakdowns for kind of how these work, go watch the Suns video. It's the first one in the series, and I went into a lot more detail with those. But really quick recap, your cap number right here, once you cross this, you're only signing guys that from... Let me break this down even better. Sorry, I need to get back in the habit of actually saying all this stuff correctly. We're getting back into mid-season form with ideal off-season, right? So the cap line, once this number were to hit 0, if you're bringing in somebody from another team, you can only be giving them a minimum contract in free agency, right? It works like that with a lot of other sports, and so just know that with this number. You can always go over the cap, though, to sign your own guys. The luxury tax itself, once this number hits 0, your team gets way more expensive. The first and second apron are newer things in the NBA, basically put in place to make sure star players don't get traded as much, that super teams are a lot harder to form. And the one team that kind of ignored that rule were the Dallas Mavericks this last year, where they said, oh yeah, you think we won't trade our star player? Watch us. And they did it anyway. But basically, when these two numbers hit 0, trades become infinitely harder. They cap the amount of money you can take in a lot more, restrict how you can move throughout the NBA in terms of like adding and removing players. So it becomes really difficult when you get into those. And you don't want to be within these aprons unless you're pretty sure you're contending. So we find ourselves actually with cap space currently, but we've got free agents that we're trying to bring back as well. So something to keep in mind. And then draft pick situation. It's not horrible. It's not horrible considering we were a team trying to contend. Obviously, we wish we had more because we're in a shitty situation right now, but we have 1 pick this year. It's in the second round, so we can get a cheap guy in a pretty loaded draft class, which... fine by me. I'd like to keep that pick if we could. After that, we've got a lot of picks that aren't that great. We still have some first round picks, but we swap with them. We're swapping with the Pelicans for both of these, and we get the worst of it. We've got this really complicated, not very good 2028 first. We swap worst with Portland and 30. So the first time we really have access to our own pick, again, is 2031. So that's our current situation right here, right? And so... now let's talk about strategy, right? Where's AVC going to go with this ideal offseason? Well, you guys probably saw, if you haven't already, go watch it. We did a video talking about potential trade ideas for Giannis right here. It's very well understood that Giannis could, and to be honest, I don't think anybody's not expecting him to come up to the Bucks in a couple weeks once the season's over or something. Sit down with the ownership and be like, hey man, we did the best we could. It's probably not going to work here, right? I probably got to go somewhere else, and nobody is going to blame Giannis whatsoever, right? Milwaukee's tried its best to put people around him. You have to give him credit for doing that. I give him a lot of credit, even if it didn't work completely. And mind you, they won a championship, right? So a ton of credit to this organization. It did a lot of really good things, but they're in a pretty bad spot right now. Giannis is in his prime, right? They don't have Lillard this next year, and who knows what he's going to look like after that, right? So there's a lot of uncertainty. This would be a perfect opportunity for Giannis to come up and say, hey, I'd like to exit stage right. I brought you guys a championship. Please do right by me and send me somewhere I can win more basketball games. Totally understand. If you're the Bucks, you are hoping that Giannis says, hey, I'm willing to stick it out. I want to be a one-teamer for life kind of guy, right? And that's how we're going to operate for this ideal offseason, because ideally, Giannis sticks around. There is no scenario here where you would want to lose Giannis if you're the Bucks. You just wouldn't. And let me give some perspective to people really quick, right? We did the video a couple weeks ago as well. Actually, it was just last week at the time of recording this, where we talked about who can realistically win the finals. When we went in and looked at this video, we found that over the past 20 years, there's been 6 or 7 players that have proven that they can be 1A options on a championship team. One of them is Giannis. The Milwaukee Bucks aren't exactly a very historic franchise that have a lot of success. Their only real success is with Giannis. And Look, it's just you might not get Giannis again for 30, 40 years if you're lucky. You might not. It's that's just how it works, right? There's just not much talent that comes around like this, and the fact that Giannis could still win a championship because we know he could. The best case scenario is that he sticks around, gives us a year to try to figure things out, and we try to get back to the top after that, right? That's best case scenario for us, so that's how we're going to be operating in this video. If you disagree and think, oh, you would rather just tear things down, and like, oh, ABC, I'd rather just trade Giannis because things got a little hard. Well, go back to playing 2K, because like that's how you're treating this stuff. Like, if financially, you don't even sell seats without Giannis here. Like, you want Giannis on the team. You want him. He's so good. And so that's how we're going to operate with this. And that means that we've probably got to find a way to move Damian Lillard, which is going to be incredibly this is going to be complicated, right? And I'm telling you guys right now, by the end of this video, we're not going to probably have a team where you go, that team can win a championship, right? You're probably going to be like, maybe, because they have Giannis, but most likely we're not. We're trying to set ourselves up to where after this season, because this next season's going to suck, we're in a flexible place where we can try to make some sort of move happen in some way to get some more talent around Giannis again. So that's going to be the way that we're attacking this video, and we're going to go from there. Before I go further, though, let's take a quick look at actually, you know what? No, let's move on to the trade portion of the video. Let's move on. Alrighty, so that brings us back here to Fanspo, where we're gonna actually do some realistic trades and stuff. If you guys aren't familiar with Fanspo, pretty cool site where we get to kind of simulate a lot of different things. We'll do the mock drafts on here as well. And by the way, if you're watching at this point in the video, I know that like 40% of you skipped to this point in the video right here. You didn't watch the past like 10 minutes of this video. I go and I watch my retention graphs, and the video spikes at this part in the video always. Go back and watch the first part, you numbnuts. I'm giving you context to what we're gonna do in this. Learn the whole story. Don't be so brain dead. Go watch the rest of it. So here's what we're trying to accomplish, though, in this next portion, right? Lillard, gotta find a way to trade him. It's going to be incredibly complicated, but look, like we still want to be competitive this next year. We want to be competitive, and if we're going to do that, like we can't have Lillard on this roster because he just most likely won't play next year, right? And I don't want to wait around to see what he looks like at the end of it. It sucks. I feel really bad for him, but that's just how it is. And we all agree, right? Like Lillard going down just sucks, right? That just sucks as an NBA fan. Kuzma. Gotta get rid of Kuzma as well, somehow, some way. Pat Connaughton, I gotta find a way to get this guy off the roster if I can. I don't know how. This is like I said, probably gonna be my most challenging ideal offseason, but we're gonna try to do it regardless. I want to take a look, though, at our free agent list really quick and say, okay, which of these guys are we planning on keeping around so that we can kind of keep account of how many roster spots we're actually gonna have. Brook Lopez, maybe, right? Bobby Portis, almost certainly I want to keep Bobby Portis around. So let's start with Bobby Portis. I want to keep him around. Pat Connaughton, he's sticking around. Taurean Prince, maybe Gary Trent. Like, if we can bring back both of those, I would like to, because I think they're solid players, especially Gary Trent. He's shown what he can really do on a basketball court, even if defensively he's not the best at any given moment. Jericho Sims, yeah. Ryan Rollins, yeah. Ryan Rollins showed enough during the year where you wouldn't mind giving him a longer-term NBA contract. I don't think he's going to be elite by any means, but I'd want to give him something. Jericho Sims brings an interesting option at the center spot, so let's put Jericho Sims down here, and let's put Ryan Rollins down as well. So that leaves us with 2 roster spots. Okay, and we want to probably use this 47th pick on someone. So, okay, now we have the context. How are we going to move Damian Lillard, right? And possibly Brook Lopez, right? Possibly Brook Lopez, because he's going to cost a little bit of money as well. Oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I don't really prep this stuff too much beforehand. I did a little bit of thinking in the shower about it, though, before I recorded this. And here's the way I see it, right? If we're going to trade Lillard, it's going to be incredibly complex to actually make it happen, right? Because who wants a guy that's getting paid $54 million and just tore his Achilles, right? Well, it's probably not going to be a very good team, right? So that kind of limits us to like Chicago Bulls down in here, and probably not like Philly, and then like Sacramento Kings down here. And even some of these teams, there's no way they're going to touch them, right? It's got to be a team that doesn't care if they're really winning or losing games next year, or they've just got so many like not good contracts on their team that they have an excuse to kind of move on from those contracts, right? So my brain takes me to the Portland Trailblazers, and I think that this is where a lot of our brains go when we try to think about a Damian Lillard trade at this point, right? They've got some contracts that they don't necessarily want at this point. The main one being Jeremy Grant, who is falling off pretty substantially production-wise, doesn't fit on the team very well, and he's under contract for another 3 seasons for a pretty good chunk of change. Anthony Simons, you don't really need him on the team at this point. He's on a 1-year deal. DeAndre Ayton, he's kind of in the way of like Donovan Clingan. You might just want to bring back Duop Reith to kind of come off the bench as well. You have Robert Williams there, who, when he plays, he's great, but man, he just can't stay healthy for the life of him. So I'd like to think that they're more than willing to move off of some of these guys, and they can afford to have Lillard for 2 seasons because otherwise they have to have Grant for 3, right? So I think that that's kind of the basis point of this trade, is a Damian Lillard, Jeremy Grant swap, right? Because here's the thing, right? The Trailblazers don't actually care that much if that Lillard isn't going to play this next season. You're sending him back to the team that he grew up on. All the fans love Lillard, right? Like, that's great. You're sending him back to where it all started for him. It sucks for Lillard because they're not going to be contenders anyway, and he's probably not going to even be around the team too much at that point. But for 1 season, he can rehab with them, right? They get Jeremy Grant off the team, who is honestly just taking up time for guys like Denny or maybe Matisse Thybulle. Throw in Kamara on here, and whoever else maybe they end up drafting this next year, right? He's just in the way. This trade in and of itself doesn't work. We need to send out more money, and that's honestly fine because I would like to take on more of your guys. Here's the thing, like Jeremy Grant, like at least he can suit up for me this year. I would much rather at least have Jeremy Grant so he can suit up for me. I understand his contract sucks, but like we're trading a very injured Damian Lillard, right? Another guy I wouldn't mind having is Anthony Simons. I need a guard that can go get me some buckets on the team because Lillard won't be on the team at this point. Anthony Simons is expendable. Do you really want to extend him after this year? Probably not. He's probably not a part of your long-term future. Not the greatest defensive player, but Duke can get buckets, and we need somebody that can get some buckets on this team. So I'd like to take back Anthony Simons as well. And the other thing I would love to do is I would love to take on DeAndre Ayton. And I know DeAndre Ayton comes with a lot of baggage, but they don't need him either. They don't need the center on this team. So if I can get them to take Lillard, and then they'd have to take on either Kuzma or maybe Pat Connaughton in this, I could live with that. So let me just see financially if this even works, because that's probably too much money. We send out Pat Connaughton. I can't imagine that this works. So no, and it's because we have to cut $31 million still, in this one, and it's not going to be good enough just to remove them. And by the way, so Bobby Portis, I would have to modify this and say he has since declined his option. So that trade, how does that look at this point? So we still have to cut $15 million here. Is there anything else on here? Chris Livingston is no longer here, so we have to modify this one. We have to waive him for this. He's no longer guaranteed that. So now how much do we have to cut? It's still about $15-ish million. Okay. And it's not going to be as simple as just throwing like Andre Jackson Jr. over or something like that, because again, it's too much money to make happen at this point. So okay, so maybe we can't get all of these guys in this, or we have to make it so that they're taking Kuzma in the deal, which that probably makes it financially make sense. It does. They don't want Kyle Kuzma, right? Again, a guy that, given less years as well than Jeremy Grant, right? And potentially a better player than Jeremy Grant, not guaranteed, almost guaranteed defensively he's not. Then there's no way we can also slide him Pat Connaughton because they don't want that. We might have to give him a young player like an Andre Jackson Jr. as well, but I don't think they actually want that. What they're going to want is the draft picks, right? That's how we're incentivizing the Portland Trailblazers to take this, right? Part of it is you got Dame back, kind of cool, right? But overall, you're like, hey, you guys are getting some guys off of our roster this year, right? You guys are getting a couple guys off our roster. That's appreciative. Where are we at financially? We're taking on more of the money. We're saving them a ton of money in this move and opening up roster spots for the young guys that they're actually willing to play. So that's the basketball side of things. We want to give them some picks, though, to compensate this. And mind you, we're not taking back great assets either. DeAndre Ayton's like at most a neutral asset. Anthony Simons probably as well at this point. Jeremy Grant is a negative asset. Like that's just how it's viewed. Because Ayton, while he's good at some things, he gets in the way. His fit next to Giannis, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not the greatest, right? It's probably not advantageous for us at all. He does have a skill set that would benefit us, but he doesn't tend to play that way. Simons, he'd benefit us. Grant, probably not a ton, right? But the reason we're doing this is we get playable players that have talent, so at least we can try to be good at basketball, right? So with all that being said, I don't think they care about our second round pick this year. Well, they don't really have a ton in terms of that when you look at the actual picks. I'd like to use that pick if we could, so I'd like to hold on to that one. At the very least, we're giving you this 2026 right to swap. That's going, and this would have to happen like after the draft, most likely. Yeah, so we'd send that over to them. It's not going to be a great pick overall. It might not be a bad pick, though, because who knows if New Orleans is good at that point, and who knows if Milwaukee's good at this point, because maybe Giannis just requests a trade after that or something, right? So this could be a solid draft pick overall. It very well could. It's a lot of uncertainty, but you're getting a first-round pick out of it, and draft picks are so much more valuable now than what they used to be after this last season. You have to remember the NBA market changes a ton, so like the last couple trades that you saw happen last summer with like Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns, things like that, the whole regular season happened and trades looked way different. Like all of a sudden now the value of draft picks has shot up a ton. Dennis Schroeder would have certainly gone for a first-round pick before this last season. Now all of a sudden he doesn't really go for that anymore. And so that's kind of an interesting way to take a look at that. But you're getting that pick for sure. And then, so there's 2030 pick. Portland has the right to swap with them. We could just give them the first round pick in general at that point. They also have this right to swap in 2028. So we could just say you just have the pick in general at this point, and I'm pretty sure that's how it works logistically. Fanspo would probably stop me if it if that didn't work, right? So let me just make sure that all works logistically, right? So stipend, consecutive draft years 2025 and 26 would be missing a first round pick a day after the draft. Okay, so we're good otherwise, right? So this in and of itself, you just get our 2028 pick at this point. So you just have an extra draft pick this year. You're not swapping anymore. And you get an extra pick in 2026, which looking at their pick situation, they've got one in they didn't have a pick in 2026 even for a rebuilding team. And yes, they have a lot of young players already, but I think they'd rather just have this late first round pick, potential late first round pick. It could be a good one. I think that that's more valuable to them. So this trade in and of itself, they get Lillard, who maybe he's just bought out after the one season of rehabbing. They opened up a ton of cap space for themselves, saved some money. The young guys get to play for them a little bit more. They got Kuzma on the team, which sucks. You bring his ass off the bench, right? You just do, because you're playing Kamara, you're playing Denny, you're playing Shaden. You're playing all of those dudes, and Kyle Kuzma's on the team now. You saved some money, you got some draft picks. I think that this works. I know Blazers fans, you guys want to be more competitive and stuff right now. You're not good enough at this point. This is what we're doing right here, right now. The Bucks get some players that can actually play. So let's go adjust this here. So Lillard and Kuzma are gone. We now have Anthony Simons on the team. We now have Mr. Jeremy Grant on the team. And we have DeAndre Ayton. And I know it's not the most exciting thing in the world to have these, but at least there's talent on the team at this point. At least there's talent. Why is DeAndre Ayton not showing up here? Oh, there we go. Just a weird delay for some reason in my spreadsheet. So Lillard is gone. This is now Anthony Simons right here. And now we also have Jeremy Grant, who he's just going to be the backup power forward here. And again, I can't stress enough. Do I expect this team to win a championship? No, I don't. But here's what we just did. Simons is gone after this year. Grant, he's still going to be here. DeAndre Ayton's gone after next year. The cap space we have increases substantially. We can try to make a move after that. And no, we don't have a ton of assets to make that happen, but at least we're opening up the realm of possibility to do so, right? And maybe we're signing these guys to a few longer-term contracts, so maybe that they're more tradable going forward. That's probably what we want to do, but at least we have guys that can suit up for us right now and do a little something. We no longer have this draft pick or this one right here. So that's what we're gonna do with it. I'm not actually sure this 2028 pick just directly conveys to them, but no, it should. They still should have a right to a full extra draft pick. So I think that that's fine. And with DeAndre Ayton being here, we don't need Brook Lopez on the team anymore. So we no longer have to re-sign him. He can go be the Lakers center or something next year because I know that that's the Vegas betting favorite for it. Pat Connaughton's still on the team. Oh, how can I trade Pat Connaughton? He's quite the negative asset. What do I have to work with at this point? This Jazz pick is basically nothing because it's protected for almost all of the second round. I could attach him and another second round pick to a bad team and try to get something else to go with it. Who could use a guy like this? Like the Nets, maybe? What are their draft picks looking like in the future around those times? They've got quite a few second round picks around that time, so it's probably not them. Who else could I slide him to? You can look at a team like the Bulls. They might take on a Pat Connaughton positionally, and maybe they'd be happy to have you take Javon Carter, who has a player option, and you just don't need that. You'd probably rather have the potential of a shooter. That's probably what we do, and the Bulls need that. So, yeah, we send Pat Connaughton just a couple hours south, send him to the Bulls. We'll take back Javon Carter. We like Javon Carter in Milwaukee, and we send them like a second-round pick for just paying a little bit more money. And you could honestly probably even protect this or something. So let's protect it. Why does it say? Oh, it's done like this. So we protect it top 8 of the second round, maybe top 10. I think that that's fair. So we send that over to the Bulls. They have a potential for an asset like that. They just can't use Javon Carter anyway. I know he's a hometown guy and everybody likes him and everything. I like him too. The Bulls don't have a way to play it. So this is how we'd end up doing this, and we save a little bit more money. So I'm cool with that. So Pat Connaughton, you're gone. We now have Javon Carter on the team, who he also has a player option. He's totally going to accept it. So there we go. Kevin Porter Jr., I'm going to presume you're accepting your player option. Pat Connaughton, gone off the team. Javon Carter, you are now here. So there we go. We've got one roster spot left after all of this. We've got free agency kind of already lined up here. We've got a draft pick to use. So this, in theory, we're getting to the final stages of what the team could be this next season, which I'm not feeling horrible about right now, because let's think about what we want going into the draft, right? Let's start to kind of fill in our depth chart with what we kind of have going on right here. So Bobby Portis, we still have coming off the bench, 6-man supreme. Taurean Prince, probably much rather start him right here. And don't worry about the blue spots right here. For whatever reason, the NBA.com photos of them are like a little bit messed up for whatever reason. So we have Andre Jackson Jr. coming off the bench. Let's move AJ Green down some spots. Like a lot of these shooting guards are going to get to play, so don't worry about actual minutes. We can figure out the minutes in another video or something like that. But let's throw Gary Trent Jr. right here. And why is the picture not coming up? Turns out I actually didn't have one. That was on me. So Gary Trent is there. We've got Jericho Sims waiting right here. We'll give him some sort of deal. And then we got Ryan Rollins here as well, which I'm more than cool with. And we've actually got not a bad basketball team. We've got 2 offensive firepowers in Giannis and Simons right here. We got some shooters right here. We've got Ayton, who's at least very talented, right? You look at his numbers, it's not the greatest. If somebody coached him correctly, you could have a good basketball player, because we know he's extremely talented, right? But is what it is. We got Bobby Portis off the bench. We got Jeremy Grant. We got a lot of length in defense. Lob threat Jericho Sims. Tyler Smith, maybe he jumps into something and becomes cool. We like that, right? We like that. And honestly, having the Jeremy Grant contract after this season wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because he can make salary work if a star player wants out. So not the worst thing. It's not a good thing overall, but it's not the worst thing. We have a ton of talent at the shooting guard, which I like. Small forwards, at least we have some size and a little bit of defense. I can live with that. I know Taurean Prince didn't have like the greatest season ever, but at least he was a good shooter this year. Javon Carter brings it defensively, hopefully a decent shooter again, and we're okay with Ryan Rollins, right? Ryan Rollins might even be above Javon Carter at least to start. So let's just do that before the Bucks fans go, EVC, Ryan Rollins was so good for like 8 games this year. Shut the fuck up, Billy. I don't care. This is how I get with these videos, but at least this gives us a competent basketball team around Giannis, right? So what do we still need? I just need a veteran guy coming out of this draft that can maybe play some basketball minutes, right? We're not really swinging for the fences right here because we're trying to win short term. So Let's move into the draft to try to use this 47th pick. Alrighty, so we're here on Fanspo now to do the mock draft. It's going to work itself up to our pick, which is pick number 47 in this. Like I said, if you guys aren't using Fanspo, it's such a cool tool. You can run these things constantly. We've got guys on the Discord actually doing a bunch of mock drafts and stuff where they're kind of collaborating together on it, which is pretty cool. So maybe you want to go be a part of that. I don't know. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking wing here is where I might want to go, because like there's not a ton of injury concern like really anywhere on the roster. Like Ayton's out every once in a while if it snows hard enough, but you know, is what it is. So we'll see kind of who's available at this point and go from there, because we have quite a bit of shooting on the team, which I feel pretty good about. Alrighty, 47th pick. Who's available? Kalkbrenner here. I am not putting Kalkbrenner on this team. He is too pale, and I know Wisconsin would love him, but he's too pale. Rocco Zakarski here is a long-term swing. Can we see who like went recently in the draft? Like Isaiah Evans would have been interesting for us. Joan Beringer went really late in this mock draft, which is interesting. I actually wouldn't have minded a guy like Dink Pate. Could have been kind of cool, but all right, who else is available? Chaz Lanier is a little bit more developed because he's a little bit older of a guy. He can get buckets if we really need to. Kobe Brea. My buddies just worked him out recently, and they were like, hey, Kobe Brea was actually looking pretty good in a lot of these like pre-draft workouts we've been kind of putting him through, getting him ready for the combine. They're like, first of all, probably the best shooter in the class, got good size, so like he's attacking these workouts with a lot of intensity. They're like kind of a cool guy to watch, so that might be an option for us. Marcus Sears here, again, we could get a longer term, or not a longer term, but like a guard that knows he can play right now. He's a little more offensive focus. Stojakovic isn't even going to be an option. He's going to Illinois. If you guys haven't been paying attention, Illinois, they've got Ivisic here and Stojakovic. They're putting together like the all-European, like awesome college basketball team. Thomas Haw here, no. Sion James, not exactly what I'm looking for in this. I'm just scrolling through, kind of seeing who else is available. I think the Grant Nelson pick would be cool. I think Kwame Evans could be cool on this team. Ivisic, again, isn't a part of it. I actually like Ivisic, though, as a prospect. So I'm thinking who I want to go with here is more of the forward spot in where did Kobe go? Where did Kobe Brea go? Right here. So senior level guy, right? We know at least day one, dude can shoot the basketball, right? He's got good size on him. He's got some length. So I don't mind this at all. I think that this would be a good pick for us. So I think what I want to do is we might have taken him in another video. I don't quite remember, but add some shooting, add more of a vet. At least he'll be able to do one thing for us day one. So already maybe he's a better for us Pat Connaughton. Alrighty, so let's throw Kobe on the team here. This would be his very, very cheap salary for his rookie scale deal. And because of how the rookie scale deals nowadays work, is second round picks can get 4-year contracts out of this, which is awesome. They are typically not always guaranteed each of these years, but we get Kobe Brea here to kind of fill out the rest of our roster. And now we're not done. We have to pay these guys right here, right? We got to hand out a little bit of money in this, and we're going to try to be realistic with it. And look, we're bringing these guys back because we can go over the cap to bring back our own guys. We've got some talent here. It's not the best group ever, but we're going to want these guys back. So let's move on to free agency. All right, so this is where we have to use a little bit of logic for things, right? Bobby Portis is going to want more money over more years, right? We can probably tell, since he's been like 6th man of the year type guy consistently throughout his career. I know this last year was a little bit iffy again, which again was kind of a complicated season for them. I find it hard to believe that we're not going to give him like a 4-year, like $80 million thing. So let's say 20, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 20 million is kind of the going price for a starter level player at this point. He's coming off the bench, but that just is what it is. And you'll see we're running out of luxury tax space quickly, is what it is. Taurean Prince. Here's what I want to do. Taurean Prince didn't have like the greatest season of all time. Like let's just take a look at Prince's numbers overall. The shooting, we like the shooting, right? 43.9% is awesome, right? That's absolutely elite. Played a lot of games, 8.2 points. The defensive numbers, not that great, as you can see, but overall, I think he deserves a little bit more money. He's not quite a starter level player, but he's going to play a decent enough role for us. So what I want to do is give him like maybe 7.5, 8 or something like that. Because again, we need a little bit more defense out of him, and nobody else is going to give him more than that. So maybe we say 7. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 right here. Here's what I want to do. I want to give him a team option on this next contract that he has. Give it to him for 2 seasons right here. So if he just completely falls off, it's there, but he's getting guaranteed money this next season. Cool. Gary Trent, probably going to get a little bit more than him, right? If we take a look at Gary Trent Jr., again, defensive numbers pretty rough this year, but scoring was a lot better. He had that really good end of the season playoffs or whatever. What are we going to say for him? 9? Maybe 9? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, nobody else can give these guys this money because most teams just don't have cap space, so they're either getting minimum contracts or being traded, or that's what they get. I want to give him kind of like 2 years guaranteed is what I'm thinking. And these are tradable contracts as well, which is nice. I know we're entering close to the aprons right here. We're not going to get to the second apron. We're going to get to the first, which I'm okay with being in if we're this team, right? Because we are a good basketball team. A lot of this money, again, is going to fall off when Simons, which maybe he sticks around long term, we don't know. Ayton almost certainly not. When they leave, we're going to get a lot of money back, right? So things to keep in mind with that. Jericho Sims and Ryan Rollins, they get minimum contracts. That's just what they get. So if we go and take a look at them, how many years have they been in the league? Jericho Sims has been in the league 4, so he gets a contract that looks like this for 1 season. There you go, my boy. You get a 1-year deal. Ryan Rollins, same thing for him. This will be his 3rd season here, so we give him just a little bit less money right here, and that's what we do with Ryan Rollins. And look, just barely, I didn't intend for this at all, just barely avoid the second apron with this one, just barely. Not a bad basketball team overall, not an elite one, probably not winning a championship. And again, I can't stress this enough, in this world, I wouldn't be surprised if Giannis just says, I'm out, right? And then everything changes, and this video isn't as important as this one right here, right? Maybe we have to do another ideal offseason if and when Giannis requests out. But in an ideal world, Giannis says, I'm going to give you a season to figure this shit out, right? Try to make this team as good as you can for right now, and we'll figure it out after this year, right? It's just, it is what it is, right? Maybe he just wants to be that guy and wants to be a one-teamer for life. We don't know, and if you think you know, you're a dum-dum. You just are. Go look in the mirror, point at yourself, and say, I'm a little dum-dum, because that's what you are. But we don't know. The Bucks have done a lot for him, so I'd love to see Giannis stick around, but I'd also completely understand if he wants to go somewhere else. This is a competitive basketball team, night in and night out. You got your scorers, you got some defenders, a lot of smart basketball players on this team. Some not as smart in DeAndre Ayton, sorry, and Kevin Porter Jr., sorry. But you got some talent to work with on this team, and unfortunately, Doc Rivers is your coach, and I do think the game has passed him by just a little bit. And I don't want to hear the stuff of like, oh, they have to fire Doc Rivers. I don't think they really can, because they're still paying like 2 other coaches to still be there, to not coach here at this point. So I'm not sure they can financially like not fire Doc Rivers. I just don't think they can. They could, but I don't think that makes sense. So I think this is what you got. We're not a second apron team, so we have a little bit of flexibility. It kind of sucks that we're here, but you got to pay the players to some extent, and I think that this is kind of where we fit in with this. But overall, we traded Dame back to Portland. It sucks, but is what it is. We've got playable players this year, and we'll try to figure it out after this season. But at least we've got movable guys going forward, and just to see some actual numbers at the end of next season, like if we wanted to free up a bunch of stuff, right? Let's just say all of this stuff didn't pan out. Like, what kind of money are we looking at after this season? We're looking at $22 million in cap space, so we could afford to make a pretty good trade if we really wanted to, and that would be the ultimate goal. Obviously, is setting ourselves up to find another disgruntled superstar to bring in with Giannis, right? So that's where we're at nowadays, because star players don't really hit free agency anymore. It's just not how it works. But this is the Bucks' ideal offseason, man. It's a grim time to be a Bucks fan right now. I'm so sorry for you guys. It's just a shame that we didn't get to see Giannis and Dame really in the playoffs together ever. It's a shame, and I hope it's not the end for Giannis in Milwaukee. But again, if I was a betting man, well, it'd be a little bit sadder of a story. But anyway, appreciate you guys for watching this. Let's move on to the comments of the video. Alrighty, y'all, comment to the video is coming from of course, the Giannis Antetokounmpo potential trade ideas video. Why not? A quick reminder, go watch the other ideal off seasons right here. It's by far and away the most popular series on my channel. I think I'm the only YouTuber doing it. A lot of fun, and go watch the Do They Fit in the NBA series. They're always demonetized, so I don't really get anything for doing them, but I really enjoy them, and you guys seem to like them, so just my little plug. The comment to the video comes from FPL DJ Hammer right here. Frequent commenter on the channel, appreciate it as always. He said, great point on the trade stuff. Like, I hate NBA fan bases sometimes because people will never want to give up anything for anyone. Some context behind this in the video, I said some of you people just like will not like give up anything good in your trade suggestions in the comments. Like, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I see a lot of really stupid comments on my channel. I see a lot of really dumb ideas come in from my DMs on the Discord, and I try to be chill about it for the most part. Like, you're free to have your ideas and think whatever, but some of you guys act like this is fantasy football, and it's always, we've all played the fantasy football with people where it's like, okay, I'll give you Saquon, or like you'll give me Saquon Barkley, and I'm going to give you these 3 guys that are on my bench. And then they try to hit you with the nonsense of like, well, if you put all 3 of their points together, it equals more than Saquon Barkley. For whatever reason, people are just so afraid to trade things that they actually like, and they just want to get things that they like because you can kind of manipulate things like that in like video games and stuff, and you think that other people will work like that. So I don't know, but he said like it could be prime Michael Jordan or God himself that's up for trade, and they will find a way to say, no, we like player X too much. He's a culture guy, and we're giving up too many picks. Yeah, so some of you guys have to realize you have to give up good things to get good things back. That's the point of a trade, right? There has to be something of value for the other team, and so just try to check yourself with that and grow up a little bit. But anyway, I appreciate you guys as always. If you leave a comment, as you see, I will respond to them. I'm actually completely caught up as of right now, which is pretty cool. But anyway, go join the Discord. Link is in the description as always. You can get the ideal off-season spreadsheet there. You can talk about basketball at any given moment with us on there. It's a lot of fun, especially during the playoffs. But anyway, we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks so much. Bye.